Good evening and welcome to TV47 Weekend Edition. This is the Weekend Edition and by extension, her say. Now appointed by the president to one of the most top, or perhaps the country's topmost board on the question of health, as well as garnering herself Africa's 40 under 40, that is of course in September 2022, and as well the CEO of MP Share Hospital. Dr. Tosif Dane is our guest tonight. The lady of the night. Of course, the business is to just share her ideas of what it takes to be successful, even as we get to empower the ladies out there and beyond the ladies as well, appreciating our men and basically in relation to what they do to make sure that we are as successful as we are. That's what she'll be sharing shortly. Of course, I had a sitting with her earlier on, but before it gets to that very, very important and informative interview, I think it's important that you are as well enlightened as to what is happening in the world of news. We have lots lined up for you. That is, of course, politics, health, and so much more. So make sure that you keep it right here. Here are the highlights. Tonight,
they have done a democratic duty to stand and be recognized. And I want to tell you, we are going to have a conversation with you so that we can identify your issues.
President's dialogue invitation to the Gen Z elicits a wave of reactions on just how he will engage with the youth who seem to be leaderless. And Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua says the government did not bribe members of parliament with 2 million shillings to vote yes for the Finance Bill 2024.
As the Deputy Party Leader of UDA, sisi hakuna pesa tulitoa ati milioni 2 ya kupatia wajumbe. It is not true. Let us not tusiharibie watu majina. Hakuna haja.
As pressure continues to mount on yes MPs from the public. Government insists it was right in deploying KDF to man protected areas.
National Police Service, under their leadership, with the support of Kenya Defence Forces, we will protect critical infrastructure. As
experts warn that the decision is likely to lead to bad blood between the police and the military.
Because you send the military somewhere, it means that your other security organs have totally failed. Are we saying that the police have totally failed? All their layers, eh?
Welcome back to the broadcast. My name is Linda Alela. Assisting me on the sign language interpreter's side is Rhoda Nyamai. As always, the hashtag is #HerSay. We'll be looking at some of your comments as we proceed with the broadcast. Now, Defense CS Aden Duale has defended the decision to deploy Kenya Defence Forces to assist the police in maintaining security as the anti-tax protests are expected to continue in the country. That is next week. This move, however, continues to be strongly opposed from all quarters, with experts warning that the decision is likely to lead to bad blood between the police and the military, as Sheila Chelaga tells us.
At Parliament buildings, beefed up security, all roads leading to the area as well on high patrol. This follows Tuesday protests where security was breached and protesters made way into the August House. And on the roads leading to State House, there is significant presence of officers, however minimal as compared to yesterday and that of the day before. The military personnel can be spotted inside the Nyayo National Stadium, inactive. On Friday, Defence CS Aden Duale laid bare details of the deployment as directed by the court, which stating that the unusual turn of events will cover all 47 counties, especially where critical infrastructure are located.
The citizens have a right to protection. The citizens have a right for us to protect their wealth, and their property.
The deployment, however, continues to be met with stiff opposition, who argue that both the law and the intention are flawed.
The civilian forces have failed to deal with the people. The military are not supposed.
And apologies for that hitch, but all the same, the decision by the President William Ruto to start the process of engaging the Gen Z protesters, that is for talks, is already causing ripples both on and offline, with many Kenyans asking just how it is likely to happen. This is because the protesters are largely leaderless, and of course here is more in relation to that.
While meeting religious leaders from the AICPA at State House, Nairobi, President William Ruto revealed his intention to engage the protesting youths in a dialogue meant to address issues raised that resulted to weeks of protest against the finance bill.
Mimi nitatoa taarifa leo ya kwamba mimi nataka tuongee kama Wakenya.
Hours later, in a statement from State House, Head of Public Service Felix Koskei gave the outline of the events that ought to lead to the talks likely to be held in the first week of July this year. The first step involves forming a national multisectoral forum, bringing together stakeholders from diverse sectors, including youth-led organizations, civil society, religious organizations, professional bodies, and business community organizations. Others are academia, student leadership, majority and minority leaders, and the Council of Governors. Other stakeholder groups are requested to nominate representatives to constitute the National Steering Committee of the NMSF.
Nataka tukuje tuketi chini. Viongozi wa makanisa, viongozi wa dini, viongozi wa vijana, viongozi wa NGOs, civil society, professional bodies, viongozi wa vijana kutoka university, tuketi chini tuongee vile nchi yetu tutapeleka mbele.
The National Steering Committee shall be comprised of 100 persons and will serve as the backbone of the NMSF and shall be responsible for providing the framework, modalities, agenda, timelines for a nationwide dialogue on matters raised by the youths. These duties will guide efforts to address pressing youth concerns raised during recent demonstrations. Each umbrella body is requested to nominate 2 representatives, ensuring gender balance, with appointments sent to the office of the President William Ruto not later than the 7th of July. After forming the steering committee, President William Ruto will convene an inaugural meeting to outline the NMSF's primary objectives and foster collaboration among its members. Subsequently, all appointees will commence their official responsibilities right away across all the 47 counties. Meanwhile, tensions between Gen Z and the Kenyan government continued to simmer on online, with many outlining some demands they expect President William Ruto to address, like full compliance with court rulings, reduction of parliamentary salaries, elimination of CAS's positions, abolition of the Prime CS position, removal of budgetary allocations for the office of the First Lady, abolition of offices for the spouses of the Deputy President and Prime CSs, removal of senators and women representatives' position, elimination of car and housing allowances for leaders, reduction of ministries to 10, removal of the House levy, reconstitution of the IEBC, removal of office of CSs facing corruption charges, and recruitment of JSS teachers and intern doctors.
Tuongee vile pia expenditure ya serikali. Tunalipa mshahara 1.1 trillion.
We have heard you, our children. We have listened to you, and you have a point. Lazima musikizwe.
However, this plan might be faced with a number of shortcomings since the protesting Gen Zs have no identified leaders. Already, the statement from the State House has been received with mixed reactions, with many of the young people rubbishing the same. Ruga Ival, TV47.
And the Deputy President, Rigathi Gachagua, has gone ahead to defend the government from claims that it bribed members of parliament 2 million shillings each to vote for the contentious Finance Bill 2024. Gachagua, who spoke in Murang'a County, dismissed claims and pleaded with Kenyans to allow members of parliament to execute their legislative mandate, saying that they have listened to their concerns. And as Apollo Kamau now reports, Junior Member of Parliament George Koimburi claimed that last Sunday, members of parliament were offered the lump sum in exchange for the yes vote.
The ripple effects of the yes vote on the contentious finance bill disrupted the burial of former Kibwezi MP Kalembe Ndile's wife Magdalene after Kibwezi West MP Mwengi Mutuse clashed with Wiper-nominated MCA Abanas Wambua, who wanted the MP to apologize.
Nilikuwa namuomba tu kwa heshima, mimi kama kiongozi na kama heoda katika area yetu na katika jimbo letu la Ukambani, aombe nafasi, aombe wananchi, aombe kanisa la Mungu la Katoliki, hiyo msamaha tu na sisi tungesamea yeye.
The clash and the tribulations of yes vote MPs across the country who are being forced to apologize, drawing the attention of Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua, who was in Maragua, Murang'a County for Harambee. The Deputy President pleading with Kenyans to allow MPs execute their legislative mandate while dismissing claims the government offered 2 million shillings in exchange for the yes vote.
And I also want to confirm as Deputy President, as the Deputy Party Leader of UDA, sisi hakuna pesa tulitoa ati milioni 2 ya kupatia wajumbe. It is not true. Let us not, tusiharibie watu majina. Hakuna haja. You know, let us not castigate members of parliament ati ya kwamba walipewa pesa wapige kura. From where I sit, there was no such money. There is nothing like that. Tafadhali tusiharibie wajumbe majina. Tupatia wajumbe wetu nafasi wafanye kazi. Na wamemsikia. So next time when they vote, si wamejua vile mnataka kusema, they will listen to you.
The bribery storm was raised by UDA's Juja MP George Koimburi last Sunday, who claimed the MPs were offered the lump sum.
Tukiro kura yothe iria iraikia yes nikaheo milioni 2.
Amid the bribery claims, also denied by MPs accompanying the Deputy President, Mount Kenya Unity politics dominated the Harambee, with Public Service Cabinet Secretary Moses Kuria put on notice for plotting an impeachment motion against the DP.
Unajua niliona waziri mmoja hapo. Wewe ukiongea kuhusu Mlima Kenya, yeye mwenyewe anasema ni ukabila. Na yeye mwenyewe ameanza tournament ya Mount Kenya peke yake. Kwa nini yeye asiseme anafanya football ya ukabila? Kwa hivyo mimi mheshimiwa nakuomba uendelee kuongea mambo ya Mount Kenya. Uendelee kutushikanisha.
Unajua heshima si utumwa. Heshima sio utumwa. Kwa hivyo I'm sending a message to those cabinet secretaries. Hata kama uko na haja na kiti ya deputy president, kwa saa hii it is not vacant. Kwa saa hii it is not vacant, iko na mwenyewe.
Na ile discipline inatakikana kwa boma hutoka kwa baba wakishikana na mama ndio iende mpaka kwa watoto wao.
The DP also defended his one man, one vote, 1 shilling resource allocation formula, saying he is agitating for equity, not just for the Mount Kenya region alone, but for the rest of Kenya. Apul Kamau, TV47.
With the ongoing demonstrations, the country has witnessed its share of losses. In Mombasa County, 3 people having been reported dead since the start of the anti-finance bill protest early last week. This, as Mazdan Wambogo details.
The aftermath of the finance bill protest is being witnessed over the country. In Mombasa County, a family is mourning the death of their 36-year-old son, who is tragically said to have met his death in the finance bill demonstrations.
Nikifika huko nikapata kwamba alipigwa risasi ndio akafa. Ni kijana wangu mkubwa wa Haiti, ana miaka 36, ameacha bibi na watoto 2. Sasa naomba serikali itusaidie na haki itendeke.
3 people have been reported to have lost their lives as a result of the protest, 2 of them succumbing to gunshot wounds and the other hit by a tear gas canister.
Katika maandamano ya Mombasa tumedocument 3 cases ambazo watu walikuwa wameuliwa, 2 wamepigwa risasi ama wako na gunshot wounds, na mmoja alipigwa na ile tear gas na mwisho ya kazirai na kufa. Kwa hivyo kwa sasa ni visa hivyo 3 with scores that have been injured that are still in hospital.
Human rights organizations have been called upon to bring justice to officers found guilty of using excessive force to quell protests.
Kwa hivyo sisi kama mashirika kutetea haki tunaomba accountability sasa. Baada ya withdrawal ya finance bill, lazima kuwe na accountability ya wale wote ambao waliuliwa na wale wote ambao walikuwa injured.
Concerns have also been raised about a bunch of goons who have been paid to cause chaos with an intent to disrupt the main agenda of the protest. The government called upon to intervene.
Tunajua pia kuna wanasiasa ambao wameogopa, walivote yes, wamesponsor hawa magoons. Kwa hivyo si masuala ya magoons tu, kuna mkono wa kisiasa ndani na intelligence lazima pia washauri serikali vile watadili. Hii ni masuala ya security.
Mazdin Ombugu, TV47.
Thank you, Mazdin, for that. Now, 400 police officers are currently on the ground in the capital of Haiti, Port-au-Prince, and the deployment has faced criticism from Kenyans, with the officers set to face off against at least 200 armed gangs that have displaced over 580,000 people in the country. The human rights record on the police is now facing scrutiny after protesters were shot during the protest on Tuesday. Our reporter Kisewa Emory with an update on the Haiti deployment.
This isn't Nairobi, Mombasa or Kisumu, but rather the capital city of Haiti, Port-au-Prince, where 400 police officers are acclimatizing to the situation on the ground. President William Ruto has vowed to send the remaining contingent as quick as possible so as to bring peace to the country, a move that continues to raise heated debate. Even as patrols continue, with the situation in the country seemingly stable enough to allow Haitian Prime Minister Gareth O'Neill to leave the country for a trip to the United States, the Haitian gang leader Jimmy Cherizier, aka Barbecue, has vowed to fight the Kenyan police. The deployment is set to face various challenges with the financing of the mission a concern, with the estimated cost of the mission approximated to be $600 million annually. The U.S. Secretary of State, Antony Blinken, authorized the State Department to release $109 million on the 18th of June. Leadership is also an issue, with the country only recently getting a prime minister, with Haitian authorities seemingly having little involvement in the mission.
Both the Transitional Presidential Council and the Prime Minister have shared their expectations that you will support the Haitian police, national police, in restoring public safety and security.
The coalition between gangs, labeled Vin and Sam, or Live Together, poses a credible threat to the deployment, as well as 1 in 2 gang members being children, a significant challenge the Kenyan contingent is set to face.
As you focus on restoring public order, safety, and normalcy, pay particular attention to vulnerable groups, including the elderly, the disabled, children, and women who are disproportionately affected by violence.
Adding to concerns over clarity and transparency is the fact that neither the rules of engagement nor the mission's concept of operations have been shared publicly.
Your performance in this assignment must be a firm statement of Kenya's capability and contribution to global peace and security, and a clear response to doubters and naysayers about your competence, integrity, and professionalism, as well as our nation's credentials.
Questions, however, still linger among the Kenyan populace over why 400 and soon to be 1,000 police officers would be sent to Haiti, with KDF currently being deployed in the country. Kisewa Emory, TV47.
Please, I ask of you, musiniangushe, tafadhali.
Interesting. Kisewa, thank you for that. Now, Kenyatta National Hospital, KNH, is set to benefit from $1 million donation from Lions Club International. That is to help rehabilitate the children's cancer ward aimed at screening and treating cancer amongst the Kenyan children. Speaking while donating $300,000 to Johnson & Johnson, set to help in children eye screening here in Nairobi, Lions Club International Chairperson Dr. Manoj Shah said that he will use his new position to help Kenya intensify humanitarian activities, beginning with Kenyatta National Hospital. Manoj Shah also serves as a member of Parliament, MP Shah Hospital Chairperson.
that I am representing the Lions of Kenya and Kenya at large. I am the ambassador for my own home country of Kenya at Lions International. I will strive to see how Lions International and our Lions Clubs International Foundation can help us in many of our projects and activities in our own country of Kenya. As I come back with very good news that Lions International, in partnership with Johnson & Johnson, have pledged $300,000 to help screen and help children of our country who have eye problems. I've also managed to get more than $1 million to rehabilitate the children's cancer ward at the Kenyatta National Hospital. And as I carry on with my journey, being an executive officer, I will certainly strive to help and see what I can do best to support our needy Kenyans at home.
Well, that story reminds us that tonight on her say we'll be speaking to Dr. Tosif Dean, who's the CEO of MP-Share. Also, she tells us just what they're doing towards making sure that, of course, they're able to serve their clients better, and beyond that, just getting to enlighten as well as, support the girl child and, remind them that, of course, the sky is suddenly the limit. I'm sure we are all looking forward to that, but we still have more, and governance and economic experts have called out members of parliament for claiming that Kenyans should not expect development after rejecting the finance bill. Paul Kirobi sat with the experts who say that the claims are uncalled for.
How then do we secure development?
Thank you very much. Please. No, it's okay.
Response from members of parliament at State House on Wednesday, asking Kenyans not to expect development after rejecting the 2024 finance bill, continues to cause heated debate. The response has rubbed many Kenyans the wrong way, many calling out MPs over what they feel like is blackmail, yet they pay taxes in good faith and serving their constitutional right. Economic experts are now arguing that it is wrong for MPs to respond as if it is a request, yet Kenyans deserve development. Brian Nabiso argues that the country should still move on with the 2023-2024 budget, plus the Finance Bill 2023, which was passed under Ruto's government.
The Finance Bill, which was passed, it brought in the measures and or the acts to collect taxes, and it is still ongoing. It didn't mean that when the new Finance Bill comes in place, we leave the previous one, no. Yeah, they are still collecting taxes. There are still the other previous sources of getting funds. They can still use those. They can still do those projects. And if there was a project which was to be there and it was done, now those funds can be still directed to another project.
The 2024 budget only falls short of 300 billion shillings, which the recent finance bill of 2024 was to fill the gap, bringing to a tune of 4 trillion budget, which is estimated between the financial year 2024-2025. Government has also been faulted for wastage of public resources, creating unconstitutional offices, corruption in the government offices.
Katika ministry, we have the CS, we have the PS, then we have maybe either 1 or 2 PSs. Now, this PS is supposed to be primarily, he's the accounting officer of the accounting officer and the advisor to the minister. But at some point, you will find that even the minister himself has like 3 advisors. He has his accounting officer.
Minus the finance bill, it means that some of the development programs amounting to 200 billion shillings, we will have to cut down, to delay them. They will have to wait, some of them, for next year. We will try it again. We will try next year to find some money. Some of them we will have to cancel.
Speaking at State House on Wednesday, President William Ruto affirmed that dropping the Finance Bill 2024 will make the government lose at least 346 billion shillings, making it difficult to carry out development projects, and therefore this will force the government to find other means to fill the gap. According to Professor Njuguna Ndung'u, the financial year budget was to be funded through additional revenue measures amounting to 346 billion to be raised from the Finance Bill 2024, which Kenyans rejected. The Treasury CS also directed accounting officers to limit spending of the financial year 2024-2025 budget to only critical and essential services. This one forced President William Ruto to instruct National Treasury to immediately prepare supplementary estimates to reduce expenditures by the amount of revenue that was expected. And this move will definitely affect both levels of government, the national government and the county government and the constitutional commissions. Paul Kirobi, TV47, Nairobi.
And the Kenya Police clinched the 2024 Mozart Bet Cup title after beating KCB 8-7 in post-match penalties. The match ended 0-0 in the regulation and extra time as Patrick Matasi scored the winning penalty, securing CAF Confederation Cup slot and 2 million shillings for the Kenya Police AFC Leopards. Arthur Kitengo bagged the Golden Boot Award, while Kenya Police David Owino won the Most Valuable Player Award. Kenya Police's goalkeeper Patrick Matasi maintained 4 clean sheets throughout the tournament, earning him the Golden Glove Award earlier, and AFC Leopards finished third in the FKF Mozart Cup tournament after edging past Kariobangi Sharks 2-1. Victor Omune opened the scoring for AFC Leopards in the 15th minute, and Randy Bakari made it 2-0 in the 35th minute, giving the team a first half advantage. Kariobangi Sharks, on the other hand, Keith Imbali pulled one back in the 74th minute.
Akifunga magoli matano hat-trick.
With Dan Okeo Foundation today organized a basket camp at Dagoretti High School, and the camp, which is focused in breaking barriers and fostering inclusion, brought together players from age 5 to 18 years and basketball wheelchair players. The camp, which aims in promoting sports inclusion among marginalized communities such as Kakuma Camp, Samburu Girls, Deaf and Wheelchair Basketball Camp Beyond. Hoops are playing to host the camp in various locations across the country.
We are at Dagoretti High and we have a basketball camp. But this is not a normal basketball camp. We have integrated basketball and mental health. So today we had a mental health clinic where we talked about suicide, we talked about traumas, because you know most of our players, when they go out there and they get injuries, some of them get into depression. So we've tackled that. What today we wanted to achieve with one of our partners, Dan Akeo, who is a coach in Boston, America, we wanted to introduce camping because some of our basketball teams don't have a session to just do basketball fundamentals. So today we want to touch base on that, and we are glad that all the kids that are here will be impacted in a different way, because also we have the College Connect people who are scouting.
Hoops. Huko ndo watakuwa wanatumia kudevelop talents. So that's why camp imefanyika huku ili iweze kuonyesha watu kuna watoto wa hii community ya Dagoretti wanaweza participate in basketball.
Leo siku ya leo tumekam hapa as Beyond Hoops na Dan Okeo na James ambaye yuko hapa kwa Canada. It's to give back to the community through sports. As you can see, venye umeona leo siku ya leo watu wamechangamka. Siku ya leo tumekam na coaches, at least wamekam kufundisha watu techniques mpya zenye wajai kuwa nayo. Kuza ukiangalia mtaani basketball hayuko kwa grassroots sana. So our main focus ni kuhakikisha ya kwamba basketball inaanzia grassroots ikienda ikipanda.
All right, and of course that's all we had for you. That is in relation to news. Shortly we cross over to Haiti. Dr. Tosif Dane is a guest tonight, the CEO of Ampisha. She has lots to share with you. And so I'd call for you to stick around. We take a quick short break as we release our sign language interpreter, Roda Nyamai, and then we're back with that.
Kila kiongozi ana hadithi yake ya kipekee.
Wazazi wangu walikuwa bit strict kwa sababu mamangu mwenyewe, mimi kutoka kuzaliwa sijailala nje.
The white small one, huyo ana sniff gunpowder na risasi na bomb. Alafu huyo mwingine ni Ridgeback ana sniff simba.
Even the employees knows that. So when in the boardroom is the chairman, the CEO, and the rest of.
At what point are you a wife?
The minute you get to that inside that door, you become now the wife.
Na kila maamuzi wanayoyafanya hufichua mengi kuhusu utu wao na uongozi wao.
We see God blessing us, and we now realize the power of giving also has to be rewarded back.
Kupitia kipindi Mfahamu Kiongozi, tunakuletea mahojiano ya kusisimua na uchambuzi wa kina kuhusu viongozi wetu.
Pick your core business as the bigger stones. Put them in your diary first. Give priority the bigger things.
Usikose kila Alhamis saa 1:30 jioni.
In a world where challenges are as common as opportunities, there are those who dare to defy the odds. They are the entrepreneurs. Entrepreneurship isn't just about starting a business, it's about embracing uncertainty, pushing boundaries, and turning dreams into reality.
Hata ambao ni pesa ya kusave, wallahi.
Welcome back to the broadcast, and this is Her Say. So this evening we're delighted to have the CEO of Ampisha Hospital, and probably you might be waiting to see a man because that is the assumption, unfortunately. But then again, we appreciate that women are going out there, going out of their way, breaking the glass ceiling, becoming CEOs of these organizations that we never have imagined such would be the case. And indeed, as women, we are proud, and we make it even better by telling these stories just to remind you as a girl back there that indeed the sky is the limit. Perhaps we can go beyond that. Dr. Tosif Dean is here with us, and anytime a person would hear Ampisha and doctor, in the same sentence, the assumption is that, well, doctor is a doctor. It's a pleasure to have you.
Thank you.
And thank you as well for hosting us.
Thank you very much.
Right,
You're welcome.
Doctor and Ampisha at the same time, a typical medical doctor, or?
No, I'm not a medical doctor. I have an honorary PhD, and now I'm also working to study on my PhD in business and management with the Strathmore University.
Nice.
Yes.
All right, so nothing to do with...
Nothing to do with medicine.
So how do you find your way here, as the CEO of Ampisha? Because I realize, just going through your profile, that you have been involved so much so in terms of things to do with health management and medical management and all that. So you're in finance? Yes. And then now you find your way here.
Yes, so my background is in finance. Interestingly, I stumbled upon an advertisement in a newspaper advertising for head of finance for Ampisha Hospital. Okay. So I was a little two-minded initially, because when I told my mom about the head of finance position, she's like, "Do you know you were born in that hospital?" So I was like, "Oh, Mom, that's interesting. Now I'm going to be working for the hospital that I'm born in." So I applied randomly. I was called for an interview. I came for the interview in 2011. In November, I joined as the head of finance. So it was a very exciting opportunity. The hospital then was just about 70 beds. I then moved on to becoming the acting chief operations officer. And then I was finally confirmed as the chief operations officer. But it didn't stop there. I think God was really watching over me, and I was then given the opportunity to be the acting CEO So many actings. And then finally, in a very tough year of my life, which was the year of the COVID-19 pandemic, I was confirmed as the CEO of the hospital. So it's really been an amazing journey, and that's really how I find myself here. Of course, I'm born here, so there is a little bit of, loyalty sort of towards that. But I think coming in all the way from being a head of finance and, number crunching and everything, and now being the CEO of a very premier facility in Nairobi, I think it's a very humbling experience. And yes, you're right, my background is 100% finance, strategic planning, financial management, and accounting.
All right. So picking you out of the many other people, perhaps other heads of different departments, and then at a time where the hospital is extremely busy, the country is at a standstill, the world is at a standstill. How did you manage that? I have seen presidents being questioned as to how they managed the COVID-19 situation yourself.
So I think initially when the first case of the COVID-19 pandemic was announced, I think that was in December 2019. By that time we had heard that, this has been happening in China and it's out of Kenya. So we are like, okay, fine, we've got fairly good infection prevention control standards. So we started improving them and everything. But it was in January that we really felt that there was a need for us to come together, and we formed a COVID-19 task force. So I was the chair of this task force, and we had several supporting members in this task force, including the chief nursing officer, the chief medical officer, doctors, nurses. Several people came, and we decided that we needed to have a hotline number. And we started changing strategies, and we started changing business models. I think the idea at the end of it all was, how do we have better patient outcomes, how to learn more about the disease, how to learn more about the pandemic, benchmarking to see what other organizations and hospitals had done. So it was really a team effort. And I think they say, never let a good crisis go to waste. And I think we used that as an opportunity to improve our systems, our people, our infrastructure, our patient flows. And I think we came out as a really shining hospital and a phoenix, I would say, shining out there to say that, hey, there you go, we did it.
But perhaps confirming that that was the best brain that we picked for CEO. What is the criteria? What goes into the picking of a CEO here, for instance?
I think that question, of course, would be suitably answered by the chairman of the MP Shah Hospital. But I think for me, if I was to be in that criteria, I think somebody who has focus on numbers, someone who is a visionary leader, someone who is a coach and a mentor, but most importantly, someone who is able to go to the ground and understand the problems of patients and staff on the ground rather than in closed corner offices, someone to have a human experience and someone to be able to connect to people at a human level, not at a corporate level.
Mm-hmm. There must be so much in your plate. And you mentioned your mom. I'm curious to understand, I hope you're okay answering that, or maybe saying something small about where you come from, your background and all that. I mean, there must be a family that pushes you on and tells you, you know what, that is the thing.
So there are many dynamics of my family. Of course, my mom has been very instrumental in where I have been today, but it all started with my grandmother when I was choosing my career, and I told her that I wanted to do IT. And she's like, no, don't do IT, do accounts. And at that time, it was a very male-dominated industry, but I still decided to go ahead with it. And over the years, my mom really provided the impetus to me to be able to, go into accountancy. And then I started doing ACCA, CPA. I did a bachelor's in applied accounting, and then finally a master's in financial management. But I think the person who even played a bigger role than my grandmother and my mother was my husband. He's really been the wind under my wings. Every time I tell him that I want to do this executive leadership course, or I want to go for my PhD, he has really supported me in every way. And he's been very willing to look after the other chores that a woman would be supposed to be handling. So it's like, Tosif, delegate this, delegate that, let me do this for you. So I've had a very supportive environment in terms of my family, and that's where I am today through the support of all these phenomenal individuals.
Mm-hmm. there must have been challenges to all this. I mean, there must have been times where you burn midnight oil. There must have been times where you feel like, you know, there's probably resentment from other quarters. Perhaps there's some men who think, why this woman and everything. How have you handled some of this?
I just ignore it. I really ignore it. I don't think I don't think I have time to hold pity parties for myself. I think my work speaks for itself. My results speak for themselves, and that's how I deliver. I never label myself as a female CEO. I'm a CEO, and I'm here to deliver the results. You got problems with it? Please deal with it yourself. Let's talk business.
Wow, let's talk business. I mean, hard talk, tough talk, and that's basically perhaps why things would get moving. So here we are from a different background, but then generally running this. What do you envision for this entity? What have you managed to achieve aside from that complicated bit of COVID-19?
Absolutely. I think the COVID-19 was a defining moment for many healthcare leaders globally. But I think over my years, I've been here for 14 years, and I always say I'm born, bred, trained Kenyan. And in this 14 years, I think I would say that there are things that I've contributed to individual level, but a very supportive team that I've had. The MP Shah Hospital employs over 1,400 staff. 84% of these staff are women in the senior leadership positions at the hospital. So you can see that, you know, women can be able to deliver phenomenal results. I think over the years, what I've been very strong about is about mental health and well-being. And that's what COVID-19 taught me, that we need to be able to create supportive environments for our nurses, our doctors, our support teams, because really, I don't think we talk about mental health as much as we should. People were suffering in a different way during the pandemic, but now with so much happening with economic turbulence, with trying to make ends meet, single moms, and we as a hospital are not isolated from the issues that are happening around the world. So I have been a champion in having a mental health support program at the hospital. We have monthly prayer sessions in the hospital. I feel that the connection to the God Almighty is exceedingly important for us. We've been able to deliver that, and we've also been able to have mental health and counseling sessions in the hospital. We have full-time counselors to be able to support our staff. In addition to that, I would say that I started the Green 365 strategy at the hospital, which is basically a strategy that involves about environmental conservation, energy efficiency, and waste management practices. Even the garden that we sit in today is a healing space. This is a healing space for our patients to come and enjoy the outdoors, because we believe that biophilic designs like this, we are able to create a good healing environment for our patients. So Green 365 has been my brainchild, again supported ably by the chairman of the hospital, by the teams, the Go Green champions that we have. And of course, women empowerment. I think we have included so much diversity and inclusion over the years. You know, when we interview and shortlisting is done, and the shortlist of candidates only include men, and I send them back, and I was like, no, we can't only have men. I mean, you cannot shortlist men alone. Go back and bring the women on board. As and when required, we have been compassionate towards providing flexible working policies for moms who have just delivered. We are able to provide flexible parking arrangements with, if they cannot park very far from the facility, we have been able to do that. We have been providing lactation rooms in the hospital and also giving equal opportunities to women.
How delicately, on that one, how delicately without, you know, risking a scenario where you're going to be labeled a feminist?
It's bordering that, unfortunately, but I don't think I would say that I'm 100%. We give equal opportunities also to the men and to the boy child. Like in the next couple of weeks, we are rolling out a mental health policy for men. Men are allowed to cry. They should be allowed to cry. Yeah. Yeah. So we're trying to create platforms for them. It doesn't mean to say that we do not promote the men in this hospital. I think they have been our very loyal allies in this hospital. They have been able to speak for women. They've been able to stand right side to side besides us as we promote a premier-centered hospital in this organization.
Beautiful. All right. Women largely do not come out to speak so much of the great strides that we make. perhaps I don't know whether we still go with this notion that, or this myth that women are their own enemies and everything. I have personally seen you in different spaces, reminding the girl child of the importance of going out there, shouting about just how much a woman can achieve. How again do we handle this without appearing as though we're trying to diminish what it is that the boy child is doing and who it is?
Yeah, absolutely. I think one of the challenges that women face is that when they go out there and they talk about their achievements, one thing is that they feel that they are boasting, or maybe they feel that, they are bragging. I think that is something that should be shared away. You've got the achievements, you've got the awards because you've put in some hard work out there. So there should be no shyness to be able to talk about your accolades, about your awards, about the achievements that you have got as a woman. Besides talking about it in big ways, I think women should become better negotiators. Even when we are negotiating our salaries, we should be hard and firm. I get a lot of applications and I see that the negotiation skills of women are slightly poor and require a bit of more improvement than men. So be a negotiator, being a strong advocate for yourself, speaking for yourself, and being an advocate for not only yourself but even other women. They talk about the syndrome where you, the queen bee syndrome, where you go up and you freeze the elevator there. So I think please send the elevator down so that we can also promote other women, so that we're not enemies. We are friends, we are sisters, and we are able to achieve much more when we put our brains together.
Beautiful, beautiful. You speak about prayer, which is one of the driving forces of very many people who are successful. And so in such a scenario, or in such a space where we have different faiths, how do you bring them together so that we all understand that the goal is to speak to a mightier being, to ask for guidance and everything? And I can evidently tell you, Muslim, I stand corrected.
Yes, yes, I'm a born Muslim and I practice my religion. I'm not just a Muslim. I practice my religion. I pray 5 times a day. I fast. I was also blessed by the God Almighty to do one of the most important pilgrimages. So I have been for Hajj, as we call it. I practice in giving in charity. They say charity extinguishes sin as water extinguishes fire. Being a Muslim has taught me how to be a good leader as well, because it has taught me how to be humble. Because I think a human is the only one who can understand another human's pain. For me, there are 3 defining pillars: prayer, which I do; patience in what we need from the God Almighty. Not everything that we pray for should be granted to us immediately. And I think through prayer and patience and through, all these acts of charity that we do, I think it really grounds us at an individual level. My staff engage in monthly prayer sessions, which we are part of. And these monthly prayer sessions are not only targeting Muslims, they are interdenominational prayers that we carry out every month. And I think we believe in the power of prayer. We believe that God Almighty is there to be able to handle our affairs. I, as a Muslim, believe that a leaf cannot move from one place to another until they are the commands of the God Almighty. So prayer rests in my leadership. Prayer rests in the way I carry myself. Islam is not just a religion, it's a way of life, and we must practice that.
Beautiful. And here you are, tough talk, serious talk, prayer and all that. When do you get time to loosen up? And what do you do while you loosen up? This is a question that most of the people will ask, because it's very important. I think it goes hand in hand in making sure that we're mentally okay.
Yeah. I'm a person of prioritizing, and I'm also a person who loves checklists. So I prioritize my work, prioritize what's required of the day. What you can do in a day, you can do. That's all you can do. And I think to be able to have boundaries for yourself is very important. When I go home, I should be fully present for my children. I should be fully present for my husband. A lot of times what I see is that CEO jobs are labeled, oh, I know you are very busy. I didn't call you because I thought you would be in a meeting. And I think that needs to be broken away. I keep hearing that all the time, and it's really not about that. It's about...
we're going to interview a see. We miss 1 minute, we're not going to find her.
Yes, I'm a person of time management, definitely. I feel things should start and should try and stop in the time that has been given. A person of checklists and action-packed, deliverables that are implementable and executable. But I think what's most important is that there is time for us to be able to give to our family. You can't be sitting at a dinner table with your children and thinking about balancing the books. Should be able to have the power to be able to disconnect yourself from it. So we have a lot of family rituals, we have movie nights, we have religious class lessons during the weekends and also during the weekdays. In the weekends, I go to the Karura forest. I don't mind enjoying a date with my television. I and my husband are more than husband and wife, we are friends. So we talk a lot, we travel together, so we do have our fun moments, we do have our great times. And I think connection to nature is also very important for us to be able to ground ourselves. So I try to do all these activities that are able to generate fun moments. I like engaging in jokes, I like playing games. Sometimes I even dance. And I think that's what adds the lightness to leadership. Leadership doesn't have to be so serious. I think leaders are always labeled, oh, these people are serious, they're busy, they'll not be able to give us time, and we work ourselves up to creating that image. Should mellow down, add some humor in your leadership journey, because I think when you add some humor, you also become approachable as a leader.
They must have told you you're a smiling machine, literally smiling every minute, and for a moment you're asking, Madam C, you're not supposed to be smiling, but it's a beautiful thing to say. All right, so here we are, and we're talking about, you having gone all the way. I want you to speak to this lady who's watching today and tell them the essence of education in building, a woman, in building a leader, in building a mother, in building a person who is indeed firm and helpful to society.
I think I've always had a curious mind, a mind that questions, why is the grass green? Why is the sky blue? Okay. I've always led a leadership journey that is inquiry-based. Even when I read things, when I'm reading my novels and I'm reading books and everything, I've always had an inquisitive mind. What do these words really mean? So to have this curious mindset has really progressed my journey. I would really encourage women out there to have a growth mindset, to be able to study. They say that the only way out of poverty is education. So have a toolkit in which you have your education, you have your humility, you have your spiritual being, you're a prayerful person. Have that toolkit handy so that you know whenever I'm in this situation, I can reach out to that toolkit and give it the best shot that I have to. Education is a continuous journey. It's a learning journey. Knowledge is power. It can happen at any time, anywhere. So equip yourself with those tools, those skills. Speak for yourself, be your brand ambassador, and be the woman that you want to be. Yes, it's good to be inspired by the phenomenal women around the globe, but remember that a cookie-cutter approach also doesn't help us. Try to curate your own leadership style. Try to be a person who can be transformational and help others, because you're only as good as if you help another person. Go out there and, if you even help one person out of 1 million, you know that you have made a difference by being alive.
Most of the times people who've gotten to levels of CEO and in great institutions in the country would then again find themselves in politics. You just land there, sometimes by choice, sometimes, you're told you have done so well in this entity. We think you would do so well at this ministerial position. You would do too well, representing the people of Parklands, for instance, and everything. Do you foresee yourself ever doing that? Would you care to do that in the event that the opportunity presents itself?
It's an interesting question. Politics is something that I don't talk much about, and I think it's a topic of interest to many. Yeah. Just recently, His Excellence President William Ruto has appointed me to the National Disaster Steering Committee as a member. I don't know whether that's a sign from the God Almighty. So I don't know whether that's a sign from the God Almighty, but I think it all depends on the need of the hour. If there is a need for me to be able to be politically oriented and to be able to deliver the agenda that is required, it's not something that is a door that I have closed, and I leave it to the God Almighty's wishes that if that opportunity comes, we'll decide it when it comes.
All right. Beautiful. So here we are, away from Ampisha, you know, in terms of other things that you do out there, say community outreach, because you find yourself once you're a leader in one entity where you're working, perhaps you want to engage on that other side, outside, you know, if it's going to be the mosque, if it's going to be the church for Christian ladies, if it's going to be, you know, chamas, I don't know whether you ever have such and all that. What is your life like outside Ampisha?
So besides Ampisha Hospital, I also am a member of another steering committee. It's called the Geneva Sustainability Center, where we are advocating for carbon reduction measures and emissions. Besides that, I'm also a member of the International Hospital Federation, which again, I talk a lot about leadership and transformational journeys. By virtue of being a hospital, I can't really disconnect myself that this is for me outside and this is for me inside. What I do is I leverage my position and be able to promote other community projects. Like I'll give you an example of our town clinic, which we call the Dinsho Bairamji Clinic, which is a community-based hospital. I would say here we are trying to make healthcare affordable and accessible to us. Another community-driven agenda has been our Thiba Dam planting trees at the Thiba Dam, which is in the Kirinyaga County, where we regularly go and plant trees with the St. John's ambulance, with AA of Kenya, with the Kingsway Foundation, with the Lion Sight First Hospital. So I would say that for me, it's more of a symbiotic relationship where I'm able to use my power, my influence to be able to take the community outreach programs out there, to be able to support individuals, to be able to create awareness, whether it's about mental health care talks, whether it's about tobacco campaigns, whether it's to talk about alcohol abuse. I'm able to carry that position outside and to be able to make it as a one wholesome thing that will be able to deliver impactful results.
Beautiful. All right, let me tell you something about TV47 as we close. We recently confirmed a new CEO, and you should see the element of hope and excitement and, you know, hunger, I would call, that the people have there, because then we're eagerly waiting to see what is this that is going to bring us, the transformations, the change, employee welfare. I know you've already done so much, but to those that are watching you this evening, what would you tell them they should expect? You know, what are your plans for Ampisha moving forward now that you're here?
Yes. So one of the things that we should all expect, and not necessarily only engaged with women, but I think what we are working on is a master plan for this hospital, and this master plan will create a climate-friendly hospital, and that is something we should look forward to from Ampisha Hospital. More than that, I'm also working on a mentorship program, and we call it the WAKA mentorship program. WAKA, as you know, means ignite, and we often feel that women are in a situation where, you know, they feel, oh, I can't be that other woman, oh, she's too ahead of me. But by providing a mentorship environment, we've been able to recruit mentors within the hospital so that the women who want to lead individual journeys or to be able to have career growths, I want to study further, we're able to connect them to mentors in the hospital. So the WAKA mentorship program is a fairly new program. So that's another thing that we should look forward to be able to empower each other. We are also implementing a lot of coaching within our organization for women and men. And I think those are some of the key things that we are looking for. But being a hospital also, what we are really focusing on is to become more and more patient-centric, to listen to the patient even more than before. It's not just a business model of looking at the bottom line, but it is to look at a patient holistically, that what is it that they really need, to be able to create environments that are collaborative, compassionate, patient-centric, that are trustworthy for us. Those are some of the key things that we look for in terms of Ampisha, women growth and development, and of course creating a green and climate-friendly hospital.
Talk to the girl out there as we close.
They say that behind every successful woman is a substantial amount of coffee. And maybe even a good pair of shoes. Okay. But for me, I think we've had a very supportive environment at the Ampisha Hospital. My real, my plea to all the women out there is, please believe in yourself. You're capable of doing more. You have the power within yourself to go out there and excel at every field. Prioritize, have a mission-critical agenda for yourself, and go out there and conquer the world because you have the power.
Couldn't be said better. Thank you so much, Dr. Tosifdin, for speaking to us, the CEO of MP Shire Hospital. Great insights right there. You know what?